Hey everybody, and welcome back. Hopefully you've enjoyed chapters 1 and 2 of The Last Kids on Earth. Here we go with chapter 3. It's dusk and the sun is setting, all orange like a creamsicle. Rays of late afternoon light shine through the treehouse windows, and the little wind chime from Home Goods I hung out front is dinging away. I'm huddled over the busted walkie, trying to repair it with my new tiny little screwdriver. Note, it's called a walkie, not a walkie-talkie. And I think my repair job is going pretty well. The walkie communicates with only one person, Quint Baker. Quint Baker is my best friend. My only friend. When I first moved to Wakefield last winter, Quint was the only kid who'd talk to me. When you're a foster kid and you bounce all around the place, you become used to getting by without friends. But Quint and I were like some Legos. We just clicked. Quint gave me the walkie, one half of a pair, for my birthday. Best birthday present I ever got. Ever. Since my foster parents were no way giving me a cell phone, and Quint's nutso parents were convinced cell phones made your brain melt, the walkies were the only way Quint and I could talk outside of school. But now, I'm afraid Quint is gone. The day everything happened, well, we split up. Now he's probably zombified or headed out west along with everyone else in town. When everything first happened, I heard it was safer out west, but I haven't heard anything about that since, day 4. So who knows? But still, there's the chance Quint is alive, somewhere, and this walkie could reach him, so I cannot quit. I remember, too, that Quint was eating this rotten-smelling egg salad sandwich. I can still smell it now, like the odor has been tattooed to my nostrils. And I remember Dirk Savage coming toward us, filling the bus aisle, thick and towering, casting a long shadow. Dirk Savage was the most formidable bully at Parker Middle School. I think he came out of the womb with facial hair. Legend has it he moved here from Detroit and his parents just left him. They split because he kept bullying them. And he took up in a shack by himself way out in the Wakefield woods. He only showed up at school to steal lunch money from other bullies. Dirk looked down at Squint and growled, "Kid, your sandwich stinks like squirrel butt." Quint squinted up at Dirk. He didn't say anything. How do you respond to that? Dirk snatched the sandwich from Quint's hand and jammed the thing, which he had just described as having the odor of squirrel butt, into his mouth. "It stinks," Dirk said, grinning a fat grin, crumbs tumbling from his big square face. "But it don't taste too bad." I felt myself getting hot, heart beating faster, angry blood replacing regular blood, pumping through me. I stood up. I tried to stay calm, handle it cool. I felt Quint's hand on my shirt trying to stop me, saying, "Jack, it's fine." But it wasn't fine. I hate jerks. Whether they're monster jerks or zombie jerks or just regular human jerks. "Hey, Dirk, why don't you pick on someone your own size, huh?" "Find someone my size and I will." I shrugged. "I'm sure we can find someone your size. Right, Quint?" Quint looked out the window and closed his eyes and started humming to himself like he wasn't involved in this. Son of a... I turned back to Dirk. "Maybe a very rotund panda bear? That might be closer to your impressive figure." Dirk reached out and grabbed me by my collar. "Hey, watch the jacket," I said. "It's a 5-time hand-me-down. Might even be an antique." Dirk growled. "You think you're funny?" I do, but to be fair, I also think people slipping on ice are funny, and guys getting hit in the groin. My sense of humor isn't exactly sophisticated. Dirk was about to slug me when a high-pitched scream cuts through the air. There's always screaming in the morning outside school. People messing around, shoving, chasing, teasing, and girls laughing so loud it sounds like screaming. But this scream was different. It was a scream of pure horror. Dirk released me, and I leaned over Quint and pressed my face to the window. And I saw... zombies. I remember thinking, this can't be real, it must be a prank. A joke, a reality show, right? So I said to Quint, this can't be real. It must be a prank, a joke, a reality show, right? But it wasn't. That was it. The monster apocalypse had begun. Next, there was a Godzilla-sounding howl like, and the whole bus suddenly shifted. I was thrown into Dirk, and Quint was lifted out of the seat and spun out into the aisle. The bus driver, a nice white-haired dude, was sobbing like a newborn. The bus became darker. Something was covering the windows, wrapping around the bus. A monster hand. The monster tilted the bus so the back pointed toward the sky. We all pinballed, plummeting down the aisle, smashing against the seats, backpacks flying through the air. We came to a sudden, painful stop. Every kid on the bus piled up against the front door in a big heap. "Quint!" I managed. I could barely breathe. Kids all over me, an armpit in my face, a foot on my head, an ear on my nose. "Quint! What's happening?" "Not sure, Jack," Quint said. Quint always had the answer to everything. This time he didn't. That almost scared me more than the monster. Almost. This monster's hulking paw squeezed the bus like it was an empty Pringles can, and the front door opened with a loud metal pop, dumping us out onto the parking lot pavement. My face bounced off the cement, nose bleeding, blood down onto my lips and onto my tongue. I scrambled to my feet, pulling Quint with me, leading us away from the thick crowd and the screaming and the crying. This is my nightmare now. That was a nightmare then. I got my bearings and looked around, and total monster zombie chaos. One single, beautiful, angelic face stood out in the mass of fleeing people. June Del Toro. I spotted a zombie stumbling toward her, coming up from behind. "June!" I screamed, my voice cracking as I strained to shout out across the parking lot. "Behind you!" June turned, dodged the stumbling, falling zombie, left it sprawled out on the ground, and darted inside the school. We locked eyes, and then the door slammed shut. I said to myself then that whatever happened, whatever came next, somehow I'd get back to the school and find June. "Where to, Jack?" Quint asked, snapping me out of it. Joe's Pizza? I think it's 2 for 1 slices today." "Jack, be serious." "Well, I don't know. Monster zombie chaos is new to me. I guess, run!" And we did. We sprinted away from the school bus and the giant monster and the hordes of zombies. We hopped the fence into the soccer field and fled into the woods beyond it. "Quint," I said, catching my breath and pulling him behind a tree. "We need to find some place to go, like the police station or something. We need, like, G.I. Joe or the Avengers to show up. Or Iron Man. Something." "Iron Man isn't real, Jack. Robert Downey Jr. is real. I bet he could help." "Jack!" "Sorry, you're right," I said. "He's probably busy being famous and stuff." Quint groaned. "Aw, my parents are on vacation. I have a babysitter. I'll go to my house, assess the situation. You run to your house." I nodded. Quint held up his walkie. "We stay in touch on these at all times," he said. Deal. I was trying to stay calm, be classic, cool Jack Sullivan. But my heart was pounding, and it felt like my whole body was shaking. "Talk soon, friend." "You bet." When I got home, the car was gone and there were tire marks in the driveway. My family was gone. I climbed up into the treehouse. In my panic, I sort of collapsed onto the treehouse poker table and knocked the walkie off. The walkie bounced on the floor and out through the door. I lunged for it, but... smash! I stared at the walkie on the ground below. I needed to talk to Quint, but I'm embarrassed to admit, I was too scared to go down there. Too freaked out. Too overwhelmed. Too everything. So I curled up on the floor. I pulled a jacket down over me. I put my earphones in to drown out the sounds of the chaos outside. And I slept. I slept for days. It got worse. Zombies everywhere. Giant monsters on the horizon. I blacked out the treehouse windows and stayed put. There was an old AM/FM radio in the treehouse. For the first few days, news people tried to explain what was happening. I munched on Girl Scout cookies and potato chips while I listened to the radio guys say it was safer out west, but then on the 5th day there was no more radio. So again I went back to sleep, just like I'm sleeping now. When I finally worked up the courage to go out and do some exploring, it had been 9 days since the madness in the school parking lot, and in those 9 days everything had collapsed. A cracking hissing sound wakes me from my flashback nightmare. I blink twice, not sure what's happening, not sure where I am. Again. What the huh? I say, sitting up, rubbing at my eyes. It's dawn. Sun is rising, blinding me. Again. I slowly shake off the morning confusion. I remember where I am, in the treehouse, 43 days after the monster apocalypse began. And that sound, that I realize, it's the walkie. I leap to my feet. Almost, one leg is asleep. I fall, slam my knee into the floor, but shake it off because I'm smooth like that. I half sprint, half limp through the treehouse, moving so fast I bang my head on the doorway. I practically dive for the walkie. Bzzz. Jack, come in. You there? Jack here. Jack on the mic. The voice on the other end of the walkie says, Jack, my friend. It's me. It's Quint. Quint! He's alive! But wait. A horrible, terrible, brain-poisoning thought enters my mind. Could it be a zombie trap? Could the zombies and the monsters have started to talk? If they had, this would be the perfect ruse to lure me to my doom. So I said, Quint, old buddy, old pal, quick question. You're alive, right? You're not, like, undead, trying to trick me or anything, are you? I am very much alive, Jack. Whew. Wait, that's exactly what an undead Quint would say. Need to play this one cool. Quint, what's your favorite food? I ask. Brains. No! But then the walkie buzzes again and Quint says, haha, just kidding, friend. Brussels sprout surprise. Whew! I'm so relieved that my best, only friend is alive that I don't bust his chops about the fact that he's 13 years old and his favorite fruit is Brussels sprout surprise. Dude, it's really you! I exclaim. Indeed, it is. Shall we meet? I have much to show you. That's how Quint talks. He fancies himself a scientist, so apparently that means he needs to talk like an old geezer from the 1800s. Don't ask. Yes, I say. Hangout time, like before all this mess. What should we do? Video games? I have a generator for electricity. Yes, video games, Quint says. We can play here. I'll see you in a short while, Jack. I smile. Ear to ear. Literally, the corner of my lip is touching my earlobe. Quint, that's the best sentence I've heard in my entire life. We over and out, and then I get to really waking up. Yawn, stretch, pee, touch my toes, hawk a loogie, splash water on my face from the bucket of rainwater I keep outside. Time to plot a route to Quint's house, and add a new entry to my feats of apocalyptic success. In my treehouse command center, I have a chalkboard I nabbed from the local elementary school after I finally remembered how brave I was and went out to explore. It's one of those giant ones that flip around so you can write on both sides. It's super handy, plus I feel like an old World War II general every time I use it. Men, I will not lie to you. Not all of you will be coming back from this mission. Last week, while exploring the library, I found an old map of the town from like the 1950s. I taped the map to the chalkboard and sketched my own little notes with important locations. As I learned more about the monsters and the general horrible things out there, I updated. I plot a route to Quint's, then I suit up. Right now my suit is pretty extra super terrible and lame. It's more like a last-minute Halloween costume than something actually useful for trying to survive. The only not lame part of the outfit is the weapons. A monster slayer needs good weapons. I mostly use this busted baseball bat, the one I got Blarg in the head with. I call it the Louisville Slicer, because it used to be a Louisville Slugger, but now it's splintered and sharp and it slices things and, well, you get it. But I only use the Louisville Slicer on big monsters, not on zombies. See, I have a code, and the code says I don't cut up zombies. The zombies used to be people. I mean, it's not their fault they're zombies now. I'm not stabbing these things that used to be people in the head with a splintered sword thing. It's just not kosher. So for zombie fighting, I use a busted old hockey stick. Just a whack to the noggin and I keep on moving. I used to have a wrist rocket, basically just a super slick slingshot, but our science teacher, Mr. Mando, took it on the third day of school. Ugh, and my shoes. A really annoying thing happened with my shoes. My foster mom gave me these hand-me-down shoes called light-ups. They had these little red lights that flashed every time you took a step. Basically, they're for kindergartners. The first night I wore them out to play flashlight tag with Quint, I realized they weren't just Dorktown, they were putting me at a tactical disadvantage. One night after putting up the worst flashlight tag stats of my career, I got to work trying to slice out the lights, but that just made them sort of hang out of the shoe and look a whole lot brighter. And then things got worse. At school, stupid Nick DeRobertis told me that his cousin Silvio DeRobertis' ex-girlfriend's nephew's dog walker stepped in a puddle wearing his light-ups, and the water got into the lights and he got electrocuted, and zap, he was fried right there on the spot. Not good. So I wrapped the shoes in duct tape so you can't see the lights. They might be ugly, but at least they won't get me fried. Anyway, Quint is like a super genius, so I'm hoping he can give my whole setup, especially the shoes, a bit of a RoboCop type upgrade. Because right now, this is me, and I need some help. Jack Sullivan, the hero. Hockey stick for conking zombie heads. Emergency peanut M&M pouch. Grapefruit juice hand grenade. The blast to the eyes blinds almost anything. Annoying hangnail I can't stop picking at. Louisville Slicer, trademark. Worst shoes ever. And that is the end of Chapter 3. Join us next week when we'll go through Chapter 4. Until then, take care. Have a great day.